In this bulletin, area of restricted movement established in Nambowalu. Ministry begins mop-up exercise. And Sachida Nand sworn into Parliament.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Ateda Lendua.
Good afternoon, Fiji. The Ministry of Health says no new positive cases have been recorded in Nambowalu in the Northern Division. Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, says contact tracing emerging from the first positive case has identified 33 primary contacts and 70 secondary contacts of the case. Dr. Fong says all contacts have tested negative for COVID-19 so far and remain under quarantine. He adds, as a precaution, an area of restricted movement has been established within Nambowalu for the next 14 days. Dr. Fong says the containment area will extend from Rara Lebuidake to Wanyisebu and along the coast of Nambowalu village. The two checkpoints maintained in the containment will be checkpoint 1 opposite the Nambowalu market, controlling movement into the main road that runs into the containment area, and checkpoint 2 at Raralebuidake past Nambowalu village towards Wainunu. The Ministry of Health is currently doing a mop-up exercise of its first dose campaign. Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, says this will allow the ministry to target specific communities with low vaccination coverage. Dr. Fong says it will subsequently also correct and update the total eligible population for their current vaccination program. As of the 15th, 91% of the target population have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Fiji First candidate Sachida Nand has been sworn into Parliament. Nand has taken up the vacant seat left by former Women's Minister Mereseni Vuniwaga. Nand secured 472 votes in the 2018 general election and is the former Chief Executive of Fiji Cooperative Dairy Limited. In his maiden speech, Nand highlighted the 2021-2022 national budget is one of the best budgets in light of the global pandemic. Nand acknowledged his new role of Parliament and urged parliamentarians to work together to help rebuild a suffering economy.
Let us have constructive discussions. Let us not argue for the sake of arguing. Let us not set up into cheap political point scoring. Let's put our people first. This is what I would like to work towards, and that's what I am looking forward to doing in this August Parliament.
The Alliance for Future Generation has launched a competition to encourage backyard farming. This is to celebrate this year's International Youth Day. $3,000 cash prize, seedlings, farming tools and training will be at the disposal of successful applicants. AFG have received more than 100 applications so far. The applications close on September 3rd.
Identify some of the innovative ways of doing farming. So we want to see that highlighted, how young people are able to mix together the Western science or innovation together with indigenous knowledge and traditional practices of farming.
The number of tourism operators signing up to Tourism Fiji's Care Fiji Commitment Program continues to increase as the industry gears up to reopen later this year. The CFC is a COVID-safe framework administered by Tourism Fiji, sets out enhanced on-site standards of safety and health protocols. Tourism Fiji CEO Brand Hill says in the last 2 weeks alone, 28 properties have had 100% of their eligible team members fully vaccinated and now have access to the CFC vaccine toolkit and resources. According to Hill, it speaks to the commitment of the industry to be ready for visitors with health and safety as their priorities. The Taliban swept across Afghanistan in just 10 days, taking control of towns and cities across the country. The mass evacuations and chaos at Kabul airport continues as thousands of Afghans desperately trying to find a way out of the country. And to our latest COVID-19 update for today. Fiji recorded 350 new COVID-19 infections for the period ending at 8 a.m. yesterday. 242 cases are from the Western Division and 108 are from the Central. The Ministry of Health also recorded 23 new COVID-19 deaths for the period of August 11th to the 15th. 20 deaths were from the Western Division and 3 deaths were from the Central Division. Fiji has recorded 40,517 cases since April this year. There are now 22,494 active cases in isolation and 17,491 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 394. The vaccination campaign also continues around the country. As of yesterday, 533,721, or 91% of the population, have received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. 211,420, or 36%, have received their second dose. The 5 most vaccinated areas include Ba, Rewa, Nandrongai, and Naitasiri, which are now 100% first jabbed. Next is Nadi. Up ahead, Kaiviti Silktails player missing in Sydney. And sporting bodies await Ministry's approval. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Kaiviti Silktails returned home last week from Australia without one of its players. Centre Tomasi Bunithangi was reported missing to Eastern Beaches Police Area Command on Wednesday, August 11, when he failed to meet with friends and has not been heard from since. Police and family hold concerns for his welfare due to the disappearance being out of character. According to police, the 28-year-old was last seen at about 5 p.m. on Tuesday, August 10th. He was part of the Kaiviti Silktails squad that competed in the Ron Massey Cup in Sydney under the New South Wales Rugby League competition. Every sporting body in the country will have to adhere to the new return-to-play protocols once the government gives the green light. The Ministry of Youth and Sport, together with the Fiji Sports Council and the Fiji Sports Commission, have been working behind the scenes to prepare the return-to-play protocols. According to the ministry, spectators, players and officials will need to be fully vaccinated before entering the game's venue. There is no confirmed date on when sporting competitions will resume. The Boxing Commission of Fiji is optimistic that its planned programs will be up and running by the end of the year. Since all sporting events have been halted, this has been a major setback for the sport. The Boxing Commission is working on getting things in order.
We had a program that got shelved. That program will be activated immediately. So, in fact, all these guys that I'm talking to, we are very hopeful that we will have at least 1 to 2 programs before the end of this year. But of course, that all depends on clearance from government.
FC Barcelona can reverse their poor financial situation within a year and a half. President Joan Laporta revealed this while highlighting that the club made millions of dollars of loss last year. Cloudy periods and brief showers are experienced over most parts of the country today. Conditions are fairly cool. That's FBC News Now. Join us again for our 1-hour major bulletin at 7 p.m. And be sure to download the FBC app to access the latest in news, sports, and live radio broadcasts from any of our 6 FBC radio stations. Stay safe and good afternoon.